Good evening. Well, it seems like a lot of people are caught in traffic. I've gotten a dozen texts about accidents on 75. We're going to get started, and we're going to go video listings and share it later. But I want to thank everyone for coming out to ConnecTalk Smart City Urban, and more importantly, coming to Arches Brewing, like one of the great gems we have in South Fulton County. It's located in Hapeville. And what I want to do to start is I want to get Jamie to come out, one of the owners of Arches, to talk about Arches. For those who came for the first time, this is a great place, but the best person to talk about it is one of the owners 2 years in? 2.5. 2.5. So Jamie, you want to talk about Arches Brewing, and thank you for allowing us to come to that.
Yeah, let's do it. So just real quick, we're 2.5 years old. I live in East Point. I've been in East Point for 15 years, and always wanted to sort of give back to the community, do more for the community, but I was always brewing beer. Constantly brewing beer does not lend you to go out and build bridges and dig ditches, right? So what can I do for the community? Open a brewery. Put my wife said, you need to go, you and your friends that are taking all the hot water need to go away. So we open up the brewery, and the space you're sitting in, ironically enough, when you open a brewery, you can't just walk in the door and start brewing beer. There's a huge process. It starts with the city. One thing we did right is we had city council come to this building and drink some beer before we moved forward. And it worked out really great. We had, everybody had a sip, and they were behind us all the way. So they said, move forward, and it worked out really well. We got to know them, they got to know us, and what we wanted to do for the community. So second thing was the space. It takes 8 months to get your license. You have to go through the city, you have to go through the state, and you have to go through the federal government. So during that time, we built this space out. This space, in our mind, was always for local artists. So on the back wall, we have a local artist that's 3 doors down. He's had his art up for about 5 weeks, and this wall is his. Anything he sells, it goes back to him. We don't take anything from it. So we built this space right here for this very reason. For the community to come together, for people to come together. I think one of the coolest things I ever witnessed was 2 guys from Delta about a year ago. Delta's been a huge supporter of us since day one. They were sitting in that middle table, and it was pretty packed in here, and so they were sort of crammed together. And what they realized is they had been working together for 10 years and never met. And the more they talked, they realized they were in the same building, and they were only 1 floor apart in Delta, hadn't met in 10 years. And they met over a beer. So I think that firing on all cylinders, it helps the community, it helps the community get to know its neighbors, its business neighbors. And so we try to do whatever we can do. This space was built for what we're doing right now. So thanks again for coming in. I appreciate your attendance, and I think this is a great concept that's going on. So thanks again.
So Jamie, can you talk at the back and some of the events you guys have?
Sure. So this space was always, on day one, it's open to whoever can use it. We've had groups this size, we've had groups smaller than this. We do showers for soon-to-be mothers, all the way up to, we've had up to 400 people in the back. So this space here, we're allowed to have about 80 to 90 people in it before luckily it gets packed before we exceed the fire code, which is great. But the back space is always open for additional usage. And we, early on, I think we had a dinner that was set up around all the tanks. So people were just sort of sitting at tables, being around, the beer's fermenting, they're smelling the beer fermenting, and they're eating some food at the same time. I thought that was a really cool concept. So again, we try not to ever say no from that regard. Whatever we can do to make that event happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you guys.
So tonight, we're very lucky. We've got 2 different experts to talk about smart city technology. How many folks know what smart city is generically? Okay, that's good. Because what we're going to try to do is we're going to do a series of talks on smart city. This being one, we're going to start with a smart city 101 just to get you kind of based on what smart city is the concept. And then the second presentation, Taylor's company, he's a practitioner, they implement, they'll talk about what they do in a deep dive and some of the projects they have. So without any further ado, I want to start by first thanking our sponsors. I want to thank Mike Simpson, the ETL guy who got some sponsor giveaways to give at the end. I want to thank Mike for that, and of course Jamie Arches. And then let's bring up the first speaker. Our first speaker is Sabra. I was going to say Sabra didn't her introduction, but I'll say this briefly. Sabra in a word is a force, and she's everywhere. She's energy, and she's been working in Smart City globally for quite a while. And I will yield to you so you can give us maybe a start on Smart City.
I want to see the people that said they knew what a smart city is. Who was it that raised their hand? Got both my hands busy. Now I'm an adult. How you talk with your hands? Y'all know what a smart city is?
Kind
I'm impressed. I've been in the smart cities industry since '06.
I know what a smart city is.
Tell me.
A city that's smart.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, it's the most dreaded question of any smart cities expert that they can get. I've been asked a million times, what is a smart city? And I'm always dumbfounded every time someone asks me. Because there's really no definition of a smart city. It's what it means to you. And today, driving here the last 2 hours, my definition of a smart city was, I wish I had an autonomous flying car, so I could have flown over 75, 85 and been here in about 5 minutes. So that's my definition of what a smart city is. Anyway, and y'all have seen this, but today we're going to talk about what is a smart city, how do you become a smart city, where do you start, that's the biggest question, and the projects that are being implemented today. Of course I don't have my glasses on. So the answer is there's no universally accepted definition of a smart city. It means different things to different people, but there's a little bit of history that goes along with the smart city industry. Actually, the very first smart city initiative was done in Houston, Texas in 1922 with automated traffic lights. So it's quite interesting to know that. And then there's the word smart. That actually came out by a gentleman in 1954. His name was Peter Ducker. And the word smart, S-M-A-R-T, actually has a definition in smart cities, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goals. But we all know smart city means so many other things. It's all about the Internet of Things, it's all about big data, it's all about connectivity, but the most important thing it's about is humanism, and that's about citizens and how to make it more convenient and efficient and more energy efficient. But the main thing is how do we connect urban areas to cities, not only states, the United States, but also globally. And there's a lot of technologies that are out there that can do just that. So the mission of smart city urban areas, of course, are economic development, sustainability, operation efficiencies using innovation, community engagement, well-being, and my favorite new word, humanism. Connected to ecosystems, and of course, return on investment. And then you can read the rest of this. I'm not going to go through it, but you've got to have a mindset. It's a change of process. And the thing that I've ran into, and I'm going to speak very bluntly this evening because I've been working with a company called Alternergy over the last year. And I've been calling on urban areas, and especially in South Fulton, because I have a little project called World City Center. And I've been working on it now for about 7 years. I've been putting together an initiative to build a smart city from the ground up. I spent, since 2006, I started working on the very first smart city that was ever built in the world called Songdo in South Korea. I actually stood on the ground, raw ground, and they said, we're building a smart city here. And I'm like, what is that? Well, little did I know, years later, that I would be sitting here talking to you about smart city initiatives and building my own smart city someday. It's going to be about 18 million square feet. We're looking at about 1,000 acres. It has a huge price tag today of nearly $13 billion. It will bring a tremendous amount of economic growth to South Fulton and so many jobs, I won't say, because every time I say it, it kind of scares South Fulton area. So moving forward, oh, I'm on a break. So anyway, I guess the break, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to break, you did. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna give it to you and let you talk about Altergy. Altergy, like I said, is a company I've been working with about a year now. And I've been bringing them smart city projects. And Taylor has done an awesome job. And there's a lot of things going on in the backyard. But he's got about 83 slides of not jokes to tell you. So I'm going to go ahead and let you get to it because you have a lot to cover. And I'm just going to let you know I'm going to be pushing you along because it's a lot of slides.
Not a problem. Not. Just kidding. Okay, we don't. Okay. So Altergy itself was founded in 2012. It really is being a smart city solutions architect. We started, my background about 15 years ago was in telecom, setting up national networks, working with about 100 different carriers across the country and trying to get all of that coordinated, installed, and making sure that all the SLAs were working. Somebody brought up LED lighting to me at one point, and I said this is going to be the way of the future, it's going to save tons of money for everybody. I jumped into that arena thinking lighting is going to be super easy. It turned out to be just as complicated as telecom. Then we started to get into other initiatives where we said, we are saving so much money and energy through lighting, what else can you guys do? So we started jumping into everything that was sustainable. So anything that would reduce power, water consumption, that's what we were going for our commercial facilities. We then started to get into the technology side of things. That's when we started adding into building management systems, lighting control systems, and all the different things that can connect a building to make it work together. Meeting Sabra, started working on her Smart City initiative. It took us around the globe. We started working with a lot of different vendors, mainly in Europe, because they've done this for 10 plus years ahead of us. And started to get their technology to really bring in here. And so while we're here in Georgia, South Fulton is really the area that is growing the most. Everybody else has a population density. They kind of have a network infrastructure. It is an older legacy system, and it's difficult to upgrade those. So when you get to South Fulton, now we've got a lot of economic boom out here. And we have an area where a lot of these municipalities are really willing to work and put out the extra effort to move forward. So we'll show you a few of these slides here. So a smart city, we're going backwards here. A smart city is going to give you enhanced livability, which basically means you're going to get a better quality of life for the citizens. People are going to have access to comfortable, clean, engaged, healthy, and a safe lifestyle. Some of the highly valued aspects include inexpensive energy, convenient mass transit, good schools, faster emergency responses, clean water, clean air, and low crime. This is really what you're looking for when you first start with the smart city, is to benefit the community in these areas. Then you go into enhanced workability. With these improvements, you're now drawing different businesses. You're bringing in large companies. The workers are now getting a job that's better than what they had. More people are moving in. You have economic development immediately once you start creating these upgrades. And then you work for enhanced sustainability, which basically means you're going to build this network and this system and everything that the city's going to run on for the future. We built a grid a long time ago to sustain what we had in the 1800s. We can't do that. We have to build something that's going to grow. So everything we work on is forward compatible. A smart city is going to be more productive. It's going to provide better visitor experiences. It's going to have a higher quality of life for residents. And it's going to stay competitive with other cities. It's going to bring in new businesses, new residential areas. It's going to encourage students to stay or return after they graduate. It is also going to drive open doors to create new opportunities in business, and it's going to create the net present economic value. Basically, all of the area surrounding the smart city development is going to increase in property value. So just to show you some cities that are doing this right now, this is a 2016. Right now, New York is the one that is the most sustainable in the U.S. They have the most sustainable citizen movements for going green. LA and Chicago, they're just right behind. And then you see all the other cities. Obviously, the rest of the world, they don't have the infrastructure we built that is the most recent, so they've been ahead of the game because they've needed it soon. So how do you become a smart, sustainable city? Well, step one is you got to calculate your energy needs. That's number one. You got to figure out how it's going to run your hospitals, your businesses, how are you going to keep the grid going. You need to deploy smart things, which we'll get into, but you have to have devices that are going to allow you to control, analyze, report, and manage these systems. Then you're going to prioritize. There's a lot of money you could spend. You could go down one rabbit hole and not see the proper ROI. You could not take on exactly what you need. There's Band-Aids that need to be fixed, and then you go to the toys. Right? So we prioritize in the areas that you guys need first. And then we think about the future, and we make sure that what we put in will upgrade and has easy capability to upgrade as time permits. So the components go from smart energy, smart mobility, smart utilities, public services, and then smart buildings. These are the things that we have to attack. Yeah, no, but there's too much to read. We kind of like combined 15 different presentations for this. So we'll have something that we can do when we tie it up for you, absolutely. IoT, Internet of Things, everybody's heard this. You all now probably have this in your house, a Nest thermostat. You probably got an alarm system connects. Your lighting is now run through this. Internet of Things is what enables a smart city or a smart home or anything that's not quote unquote dumb. If it doesn't connect to the internet and it can't be controlled, then it's an analog device that's just sitting there and you have to go up and take care of itself. Once we add in the internet component, you can then do controls based on metrics of if it hits this rate, we change this automatically. You don't have to be there to eliminate fault from somebody that's there that misses the point. So if you're going to hire this IoT, you need a platform. And I know that most of you may or may not have heard of an IoT platform, but that's really what's going to run the country moving forward. There's roughly 700 plus out there right now, and it shows that we're going to have about $1.6 billion market size in 2021 just in this market segment alone. The IoT platform is the brains that runs everything. We have something you need, a power, a smart meter, energy meter, water meter. We hook up an IoT, Internet of Things device, which then connects to the internet, which then reports back to our IoT platform. This platform analyzes, sees what the devices are doing, runs it, sets alarms, can turn them off, whatever it is that you need. But you have to have a robust IoT platform that can manage all of these different ancillary services under one single login. So we're going to kill the days of having to log into a EMS system, an HVAC system, a security system, your police, your emergency, all of that is pulled into one, which manages everything. Again, single point of adaptive protocols, creates common best practices, gives you scale connectivity, it adapts to existing workflows. The main point of our IoT platform is you can take on a legacy system. So if I walk into a building and say, look, we have all of this stuff, we want to start slow. We just want to remove this one piece of equipment that we have that monitors, say, our elevator. Okay, we'll start working with an existing Johnson control system, and we'll put our equipment in there. We'll run everything into our IoT platform. So again, the facility manager or city manager or whoever's watching this, it's one interface, and no matter what gets changed in the background, they still hit the same button. It doesn't matter, everything is managed. So for them, they can go about their day and always manage it. And that's what makes it forward compatible. It accepts over 150 different types of signaling. So any device that you want to add to it, you can do. If you go to a Johnson Control or Honeywell, which are great companies, they have a set box of devices that they want to work within that system or Cisco. And if you don't give those devices, you don't buy those devices, you can't do what they need. Sometimes that's like fitting a round peg in a square hole. It just doesn't work. Internet Things and Landscape, this is just showing you how productive it is. We're not going to go through all of it, but obviously it is in everything, everywhere. It starts with an intelligent building management system. We could go into the full city platform, but I think for this presentation it's better just to kind of show you how we would take this and pull it into a commercial facility. So we pull all of the entire building's ecosystem into this one main dashboard. This dashboard itself connects to just about every different device that you've got out there, from your SQL Server, your water management, cooling meters, lighting, flow meters, heat exchangers, AC. If you want to count people that are coming in and out of your building, if you want to track POS sales, you want to track who's downloaded your equipment, all of this comes back to it. Again, if it's connected to the internet, we can pull it in, we can analyze it, we can manage it. Building does energy analytics, meter data, predictive health monitoring. There's a lot of this with hospitals, et cetera, nursing homes, and again, a lot more. And guys, again, I apologize if you have a question to ask, but we have a lot, so I am speeding through this. Key features, it supports third-party access, it gives you comprehensive analytics, it's user-friendly. A lot of the other key, backnet, et cetera, you guys don't care about, but it does connect to, again, anything out there. The benefits, you can reduce building energy usage up by 15%. That's just by adding a platform. That's not before we go in and we start upgrading into different things that you need. So your HVAC system, if you want to change out your lighting, if you want to put in new security, all these things we can do to reduce consumption would then add on to the additional 15%. It's going to give you better visibility and it's going to remove human error. So we got a little video.
Facility manager of a massive commercial building. This is how John's workday looks like. Log on to 10 different building systems. Deal with a massive water crisis due to an undetected leak. A boss furious with rising energy bills. Why is the floor overheated? And why are the lights turned on in bright mode when no one is in the room? Abrupt shutdown of elevators. An out-of-control canteen during lunch hour. And then just today, a fire broke out and 8 people went missing. John's team had to search every floor to locate them. John has had enough. He's decided to junk his existing BMS and bring to work an ingenious system of systems. IBEM's platform. So, what's unique about IBEM's? It looks at a building as a whole, not siloed systems. With its cloud and protocol-agnostic design, IBEMS gets your entire building infrastructure to talk to a single unified interface. What does this mean for John? Massive energy efficiency as systems intelligently talk to each other. Real-time insights to diagnose operational inefficiencies and for super quick decision-making. Predictive analytics to avoid sudden breakdowns. Indoor people positioning to swiftly handle evacuations. And seamless grid management to achieve the net zero goal for the year. Meanwhile, let's see how life has changed for the building occupants. Gina arrives at work. The smart parking management system assigns her a spot right next to her wing elevator. Gina has worked with the marketing department today, and so the hot desking system assigns her a spot in the marketing zone. Cool, isn't it? She has a meeting in 10 minutes. A conference room is automatically assigned. The HVAC system automatically powers on to cool the room to a preferred temperature. As Gina has just 15 minutes for a quick lunch, IBEMS intelligently monitors the canteen traffic and schedules a slot with minimal waiting period. To top it, she doesn't have to wait for her favorite machines at the gym anymore, as time slots are intelligently scheduled and customized to suit her needs. At the end of the year, John has saved over 30% of his facility costs with IBEMS. What's more, the building occupants are ecstatic with the customized care they now enjoy. IBEMS has helped the building achieve 50% cost savings and 140 tons of CO2 emission reduction in just 7 months. Another building with over 8,000 sensor points has had 8,261 kilowatts of energy savings. IBEMS is also helping engineer the smartest building in the world with over 100 ingenious functionalities. Come experience Building 5.0. Experience IBEMS.
So obviously you can take that technology and you bring it to the city, where you're looking at the guy that's running and checking out all the water meters. They're looking at all the power meters. They're trying to figure out what's going on with flow management, et cetera. All of that then goes back to one guy that manages everything, and he can see the whole system at one time. So smart energy management. Basically, utilities have an opportunity to bring value to the table when it comes to development and maintenance of the digital and physical transformation of cities. It really comes down to the utilities coming in and building up their infrastructure for the citizens, making sure everybody loses power. That doesn't have to happen. People are having issues getting their power turned back on in an untimely manner. That doesn't have to happen. Same thing with water. What we want to do is implement a smart grid. A smart grid is really self-healing, right? It's built with multiple different power points, so if one point goes out, you can build up another one. You can bring in the solar technology, the wind technology that's not dependent when you've got a nuclear power plant that goes offline or somebody pulls that area out. So a grid to show you kind of how it works. We don't want to get too in detail on it, but it's not as complicated as it looks. Gas distribution systems, quite frankly, gas is your best source of power. We talk about the house needs to be all electric. That's what's really going to run and give you the most efficient energy usage. But what's going to bring in the power to your building should be natural gas. It emits the least amount of any emissions and is always on. You don't have a gas out. If you do, it's on the national coverage when there's a pipe burst somewhere. So there are equipment out there that we can put up for homes or buildings that would run natural gas in and convert it to power, heat, and cooling, and would also reduce the savings and make sure you're always on. You never lose power. Utilities, smart meters, this is just another area. I don't think many of you have seen anybody checking meters lately. They should have all upgraded to wireless meters. If you don't pay your bill, they hit a button, it goes off if you're not checking it. Now, some cities out there still use a phone where they just drive around the neighborhood and it connects virtually to every single one as they go by it. They have to be within 30 feet. Those are slowly being phased out for internet protocol, but that's due to new protocols that allow you to not use cellular data. Network lighting, that's really the backbone of any new smart city. So what do you see the most of? You see lights, you see street poles. So So we want to bring in the lighting management system. This is really an all-inclusive smart light. So if you'll notice here, we've got, at the top, you've got wind sensors, you've got air quality sensors, temperature monitors, we've got a security camera, we've got Wi-Fi repeating, you have an EG charging station, you have an SOS button that goes straight to the police, and an LED board on the side that can display anything you guys need. These poles can watch traffic, they can send signals out, they can really be the lifeblood and the eyes and ears of the city to help manage all of these different IoT sensors we're putting out. This is an example of one of those sensors. It's an award-winning sensor. This travels, it can track how many people are going by, who's going by, what time of day, where they're going. Different types of light options. We've even got some kinetic for parks where the more you work out, you actually power these lights. 5G. This is the new connectivity race that everybody's trying to get. Verizon is claiming the first to be there. If you guys were at the last ConnecTalk where AT&T was going through, they said they made a conscious decision not to enact a 5G model that they would have to change out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that?
Verizon has 5G roofing Atlanta, and they have 5G around the airport in the Super Bowl.
Before the Super Bowl?
So they are, yeah, Verizon's the first to put it out there. AT&T won't come out until next quarter. Again, that's a conscious decision because technology changes. So if they go out and do what they want to do now, next year it's got to change. They have to pull some equipment back. What we're doing is not necessarily 5G cellular. We do 5G point-to-point. Same millimeter wavelength. It can give you 1 gig to 10 gig connectivity point-to-point. So we're doing this for, say, some parks in Clayton County. They're going to put up 100+ cameras. These cameras are going to monitor traffic at night so nobody's there. These are 24/7, 4K resolution cameras. We have 5G connectivity, so we can actually stream all of the data across live up and down. So a big part of this is if you want to get it out, we talked about 5G cells and repeaters. This is the main tower up on the top. If you look down at the bottom corner, you can see kind of where we would put our small cell. This is how we would help the carrier like Verizon or AT&T get 5G service out. You have to be very close to these towers. So what we're doing is we're working to put these repeaters near the larger towers to then extend out 5G coverage across the town. The industry problems with doing these small cells, you have intrusive designs, they're specific to certain manufacturers, they don't look good, and they're hard to place. What we're doing is putting in these big marquees for a lot of areas, not necessarily here, but we do have some in Chicago going. So if you look to the left, this is really a 3-stack block marquee board. So the bottom we have an LED interactive board. This is where they can do advertising or any type of two-way communication with people that are walking by. The middle block would be where we put sensors in it for beacons and data collection, other big data for a smart city. And the very top block would have 3 carrier cell towers. So we would have AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. And so all 3 would be the top. This would then give you basically 10,000 megs of data bandwidth in that area and everybody else's local cellular coverage. It can provide free Wi-Fi to people that are passing by. It can give security camera footage for live 24-hour surveillance, which is difficult to do unless you really have a strong internet signal. This is what the equipment looks like for a point-to-point network. This is really just the top of 5G. AT&T uses this exact same equipment to get the last mile done for their service when they don't want to dig a big fiber trench. Yes, sir.
What's the average revenue generation per month for a city that allows a microcell on property?
That's done directly with the carriers. So the small cells, it's all about location. So we've got to find somebody that's got land and willing to do it. So they pay the lease rate. So we go out and we do the internet pipe that goes into their property. We put up the marquee board to benefit them for advertising. We may give them internet and security camera access, and then they get a few $100 a month from each carrier that puts in there. But it really is up to the cellular carriers where they want it and finding somebody that's willing to put one of these towers up. Because it's not like where you can put them up in a high mountain or somewhere it's going to kick out. They need them local and near where you're walking and driving in these cities. And that really is the issue with the rollout for 5G. Yes, sir.
You say close, how close?
You're several hundred meters, you don't want to be farther than that.
Is that like what you're seeing?
But, well, for the cellular, yeah, for that.
Frankly, like what you're seeing in Atlanta right now, what's going on to the top of like red lights?
Those are, so most of the lights you're gonna see where they stopped using, where you used to see where they had pressure plates and they dug out and they put in those plates where if you stopped, they could see where you were at. And now what they're doing is they're putting cameras, and those cameras can now see whether or not somebody is at that light or not.
I'm talking about like microsensors.
For the red lights,
I mean, they're just being integrated into a red light bulb.
yeah, they've got a lot of different options on them. It just kind of depends on what they're doing for that area. So like Alpharetta has a few specifics that they have to do out there, so they would design it towards that. But sometimes you'll just see kind of like a thimble sitting on top of it. You can't have a 5G can't be behind it, so they can hide old 4G, but they can't really hide a 5G. So we have to put it in something very high like that tower. These are just examples of what our group has done before for 5G and 4G installations, from security levels, water towers, parking lots, lattice towers, you name it. Smart waste management, big part of the city, right? What are you going to do with your trash? A big part of this is really for us to come in and put in a smart network city. So you have every trash can for the city, it's got some type of sensor that lets you know whether or not it's full, when it needs to be replaced. You can lower your trip times by several hours per day. You're looking at gas costs going down, labor going down. They're only going after the trash cans they need to do. So we have commercial trash cans, residential sidewalks, and the just standard inside. So you can see they all have solar power on them as well. So if they're outside the park, you can have this. They will compress the trash, which will also mean it's going to be longer than it takes to get the pickup.
Is there a city that uses that right now?
Yeah, these things are around everywhere. Big Billy is probably the biggest name of that you see out there. Clean Cube is just the software we use. It runs into, if I can get to it, they put these caps on. These are the types of devices that monitor the trash level. And then we bring in this CCN, which is the Clean City Network, which basically watches the trucks, sees where they're going, can start predicting what's going to happen, how many trash cans you have to fill. This way they know who to hire, what they need to build for, etc. Parking system management, who has a hard time finding a parking spot? Everybody. So the main thing now is to make it easier for the citizens to go find a spot. You have an app, you can see where you're going, plug it in, it shows you where the spot is. You go drive to that spot, it's reserved, you've already paid for it. There's a sign on the meter that says this license plate is available for it. You have your spot when you get there. There's a camera that sees who's there, and it'll send a police person or a ticketing agent to go out there if somebody took your spot. But at that point, you do not spend all that time driving around looking for a space. There is a lot of hours, a lot of gas, a lot of CO2 emissions that are reduced.
I'm telling you, we're back to autonomous flying cars. It's all that we need. That's it.
That's all we
I'm telling
need.
you, it's all we need. If we could just get those here, the Jetsons, we are on our way.
So for this, we have the motorist guidance in the app. You can see exactly on the left-hand side where it shows the parking's at. It can even show you if there's a store around it, what pops up that's in your interest. You can pull this into your car. We can have the signs that are on there, tell you where it's at, and we can even have kind of the hot spots to show you where people are at. So if you're going into a new area where they've got new restaurants and you want to see where everybody's going, you can actually look at that and see where there's parking in that app. This is just an example, easy video. But we can have automatic license plate recognition to go in anywhere, so you can pull in and pull out, never have to send a ticket. You can have anybody borrow your car, but just get in and out of the parking lot. So parking and traffic flow management. Traffic light prioritization is a big thing, all right? So now we have the cameras, we have other sensors out there that's watching the flow of traffic. You want to try and make it smarter. We're just adding roads. We're not really getting people to get there. How many people hit a light every day that's red for you that really the other lane nobody's coming? The other way, for 10 minutes you sit there, that light's messed up. The traffic is coming the other way, you don't know how to report it. These lights will automatically see that traffic is building up over here longer than it is over here and change the way that they signal to move people through. It'll also work for emergency response vehicles as well.
I had a question. This was something that I brought up at one of the city council meetings for the new city of South Fulton, and it has to do with data centers. And you're talking smart city here, and I want to know, from what I can tell or from what I saw, there wasn't really much of any data centers in the new city of South Fulton. So will that be something that's going to be like addressed?
Data collection, data distribution, you gotta have.
I mean,
So,
because-
yeah, absolutely. And data centers, they're all over the country. And you have safe spots, they're very secure. Google, Amazon, everybody's got them. They don't necessarily have to be in your city. You just have to have a secure data center to connect to. to run your services through, and have a failover city, say in California and one in Georgia. So your city doesn't necessarily need one. We have fiber laid underneath our city so they can connect between the two of them. A data center, obviously, in a city is great news for the city. It's a lot of money, a lot of high-paying jobs in data centers. So if they get one, that's great, but it doesn't preclude anybody from having access to what they need to get things done. Yeah, Facebook's right now, I think they just announced they're putting a
Social circle,
Yeah, $40 billion.
Yeah.
social circle, that's what they put in one way out there off of I-20 East. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
great
that's
point
huge.
about it.
That's huge for the area.
Mhm.
Auto enforcement, so we can take this down to the people that are ticketing. No more paper. They can actually do this from their phone. These are the different devices that the city official could use to make your life a little bit more miserable for the day. So parking and traffic management, with intelligent traffic control, we can reduce travel time by 25%. This has been proven in a lot of areas. You can release the delay about 40%, 30 to 40% fewer stops, and emissions by about 20% because you're not sitting there going back and forth. Real-time response to actual traffic optimizes every second based on actual traffic flows. It optimizes the grids, not just the corridors. You can have advanced sensing through basically pedestrians, through buses that are out there. All of that data is going to be collected. It's then going to help the traffic system route to where you're going, and it's all live. It's like Waze on steroids. Just a quick example of that. I'll go through it. These are the different type of signaling protocols we would use between the street lights to then communicate to the cars. Every car now pretty much has a SIM in it, so these SIMs can talk to this, and this is how we know what's going on and how to better manage the cars that are out there. And then obviously get the information we need for autonomous driving vehicles.
What is
Zigbee it's like a Bluetooth type transmission, so it's a mesh network. So if I want to transport my data signal to that light post and then keep going down, they all connect down. So it's just a form of passing information along similar to Bluetooth. Obviously, every city needs biking. That's a big part of eliminating a lot of our traffic is making it a more bikeable city. Now we are in Georgia and in the foothills of Appalachian Mountains, so there's a lot of hills that we want to deal with, but there are areas where they can do better with putting better bike paths as well as securing the bikes in the area. So we have smart bikes that we've seen plenty of different scenarios in other smart cities where they can just drop the bikes. Not necessarily what we prefer, the cities get littered, but there are better biking areas. Data collection, obviously that's just a big part of the smart city. How do you collect your data? How do you use it? How do you sell it? How do you monetize it? I know we're getting near the end, so I'll pass through. Security, it's a big deal. Everybody's heard about AI software. Delta is now using it. This facial recognition software can detect who you are when you go, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling sad, if you're angry, if you lunge at somebody, it'll report it. If you leave an abandoned bag, it'll report it. If you scream, it'll report it. If there's a gunshot, it'll report it. Once it reports it, you can report back to the IoT platform, which we talked about can do anything. So let's give an example for a school. Shooting goes off. The whole school locks down. The police are called. The security camera software identifies the shooter. It pulls his Facebook profile. It pulls his whole day security of where he's walking around that school, the license plate of the car he got out of. Sends all of that to the police along with a live video feed. They can then watch the school. They can lock and unlock doors to let people out. So if you have a victim or somebody that's trying to escape, they can let them out, lock the door, keep the guy in there. All of this can be done through these cameras. These cameras are getting extremely intelligent and they're everywhere. So and even Amazon's trying to put free ones in your home. It's not something we can stop. You are out there being kind of watched.
Yeah, so if you guys think there's a such thing as privacy anymore, forget it. It's just not there. You have no privacy. When we were young, we could drive down the road, go parking, whatever, it's over. You young guys cannot do it anymore.
No, you're out. And the beautiful thing again is that it can find anything for a city. So if you're in one area and they want to find your car or they're looking for a certain person that's interested in POI, this person, a bus could be driving by that's connected to the city that has a camera on the outside of it that catches the license plate or sees that person's face. Unbeknownst to St. Marta, that's sending the signal back to the police station, they get it, and then they just go out and they go after the person. Marta doesn't know what they're doing. All of the cameras are connected, they pull through, so it's a very quick and fast response.
Navigate across the interactive plan of the location. view the state of all security devices at a time, monitor video layouts in real time, quickly locate events with thumbnails on the timeline and replay the event video. Simply draw an area of interest or tripwire and find instantly all the related events in that area. Click on a person or vehicle on the sidebar to track the object onto an adjacent camera. Search everything, even people interface recognition, vehicles with number plate recognition, other objects and events with video and audio analytics. Use the smartphone app to receive push notifications, locate an event, and replay it. Connect with external devices such as access and control and alarm systems. Point of sale, RFID scanners, eliminate video tagging by search. Control your.
So, for, say, schools or commercial properties or even city councils, this can be used to automatically check people in. So if you go into work and you walk in the front door, then you've clocked in. When you leave, you've clocked out. If you're at a school and your child is leaving with somebody that's not you, the camera notices this and sends an alert to security guards. That child is not walking out with somebody that's not already authorized. A new person walks in that you don't know, a new vendor, you'll get notified. If somebody's been terminated or you know they're at risk and they come walking back up the property, immediately security is notified 100 yards before they even get to the building. You can do one-button lockdowns. These are just different examples. You can do them through a phone, through an app. You can have them pretty much anywhere to go ahead and get this shut down. We're all good.
We're good. Okay.
All right, so smart water solutions. Obviously, water is a big part of what we do in our daily lives. Smart water is the infrastructure. So right now, Atlanta Sewer Systems has got a big issue. They've been trying to clean it up for a while, the reclamation of the water, as well as just the sewers themselves. So we've got a lot of people we work with, really the guys that redeveloped the channels over in Europe, something called Aquamatics. They've done a lot of basically we're getting trenchless piping, they've rerun the aqueducts. These guys know how to come in and help with different stormwater management for cities. And that's kind of who we partner with to bring that in. Trenchless piping, another area where these guys brought to us where they can actually dig water mains without cutting up concrete or pulling through. So amazing technology, saves tons of time. Air to water technology, this is a great device. It basically pulls water out of thin air. We're in a very humid and hot state, so we're perfect for this. We can have one of these machines create 200 to 500 gallons of water a day, just sitting there plugged in. We've got a couple that we're working to put up on a solar panel, so it's powered by the sun, literally pulling water from thin air. And this is clean, healthy water for people. Smart emergency response, this is just for ambulances and police. We've got a program we're working on for that, which will immediately start tying everything together. We didn't have enough to put together for you guys, but that is another part. Citizen engagement. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So that's part of the smart traffic prioritization. So as it sees that a police car or an ambulance is going through, it can shut down all of the traffic lanes to make sure they have a clear path. Really for the ambulances to increase.
With the car, is there a geo-tracking element to that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the part that we're really working on is live feed connectivity. So if you've got an ambulance that's on site and they're working on it, they can actually live stream back to a doctor. The physician that's going to work on it can see what's happening in real time. They can start telling the paramedic what to do. That's the type of technology we're really trying to bring into the paramedics so they can start working on anybody that's injured faster, saving those really precious few minutes. So obviously citizen engagement is really just bringing the citizens in with what's going on in the community. That's having a community application or interface where you guys can see anything you're voting on. So you see these town hall notices, nobody has a chance to get out there. This app can notify you what's going on. You can review the minutes of that conversation, see what's going on. The city can ask, we want to put $10,000 of SPLOST towards fixing a pothole or building a bridge over here. The city can put their 2 cents in. You may not win it, but this is where you can start feeling like part of the community. The city can use its sensors to help you. So if you want to take a jog in the morning and you want to find out where the least polluted air is and that's your jogging path, you can use this app to see. If you want to see the traffic that's going on. So really bringing all the technology and all the sensor collection that the city is pulling and providing that to the city in a useful manner. And that's really trying to do citizen engagement. Crime mapping, planning, citizen reporting, all that put together. And I believe that is the end of our slides.
Question, so we have a lot of great technology, and we've got opportunities where we can improve quality of life, public safety, and save money. How do we inform our different cities and elected officials and others in the state level so we can take advantage of that?
Can you repeat the question?
Cool stuff here. I mean, I was parking downtown today, and it took me 20 minutes to the spot, so I feel that. But how do we get, like, the citizen engagement piece, Travis, that would be cool to have the cities, because I know with all the technology we have, it seems like less citizens get information. About the
Absolutely.
city council. How do we get that kind of technology?
You know, I'll tell you right there.
I need to back up here. Over the last year, I have been calling on South Fulton because of my projects. So I want the cities and areas to be smart around my project as well. So what I found, and I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of lunches, it's a lot of dinners, it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of educating. But the biggest problem we've got is you have mayors, you have chairmen of counties, and they go back to their city councilmen to vote on, yes, can we spend the money to do this, can we spend the money to do that? Until those council members, down, you have to go several steps down, but those council members are educated and are willing to say, yes, Mr. Mayor, yes, Mr. Chairman, we're ready to move forward on this. And when you get to the state of the city, if the mayors and the chairmen weren't as, and I'm just being blunt, they weren't so worried about what their budget looks like at the end of the year and would let go of those purse strings and start writing checks, they would see returns on their investment that they would not otherwise not see. So the technology is there. There's all sides of problems. So what's smart to make them smarter is really, like Taylor said, like they've got to evaluate what do they need, what do they want, what do their citizens need and want. It's about collaboration. It's about engaging everybody that's in the community. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a question. So it's really bringing the communities together. It's really about having small wins. You don't have to go in and try to have an entire master plan of an entire area just to show so beautiful presentation at your state of the city. Because the thing is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to get done. But it sounds good. It looks good. But at the end of the day, it's about starting with the smallest things. What we're finding out in most of the urban areas is that everybody's starting with smart parks. They want their parks safe. They want security cameras. They want lighting. They want smart trash cans. They want smart benches. They want to be part of the smart era. But they're starting with small areas and small wins. And that's really, and then the biggest thing is putting together a platform for the city to run all this technology off of. We have a platform, as a matter of fact, Taylor, if you were to talk a little bit about the platform for the cities that really needs to be implemented first before anything else, because how are you going to connect to all of these smart technologies? How are you going to bring your citizens and the city and the counties together and educate them? So it all starts with a smart platform.
I had a question.
Sure.
You were mentioning engaging our local government and things like that.
Yes.
Recently, I'm not sure if this is the same thing, but recently it took a particular company 3 weeks to come out and repair a LED street light. And my question was basically, don't you know that it's out? Because I've worked in environments where there's this thing called a network. And if your light's out, something should let you know that the light is out. And they said, we rely on the citizens to call us and tell us when the light, and I'm going like, that's not very smart.
That's where a smart city platform has to come in.
That's not
Yeah.
gonna work for
So how do you convince the companies, the power companies themselves that, come on.
They're really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked on a couple, even one in Dubai for about 10,000 of those smart street lights. So the cities want those, it's a cost issue, right? So they're going out and they're putting the LED lights out, they're charging you more money for them. So they're making their money and it's saving them on their energy usage. So it's a big win for the power companies. Outside of being able to monitor where the power fluctuates, they can't tell if a 200-watt light dies on a row of 10,000 watts. It doesn't trigger anything back. So that's where we have to put these nodes on there that wirelessly communicate and monitor whether or not the power goes. And it's a
It's
big
Wi-Fi.
benefit.
I mean, it's just Wi-Fi, that's all it is.
Well, you can't use, kind of. It's Wi-Fi and some other ones. They've got a new technology called LoRa out there that is a wide area network. It's a small bit information that goes miles without really using internet access. With Wi-Fi, you've got to keep that data path going. And so Spain and everybody else in Europe has these. It will hit here. It's just slower to roll.
Yeah, overseas, they're about 10 years ahead of us here. I spent 10 years traveling all over the world looking for bleeding edge technologies, working on smart city initiatives around the world. The technologies are there, they're slowly and gradually coming over here. The great thing about Alternergy, when I teamed up with Taylor, is the fact that we're bringing a lot of those technologies from overseas here to the US now, via Alternergy. So, I'm sorry, yes sir.
Grand Prix, hey, you're talking about some awesome and fantastic new technologies, and all sounds great. I think something you skipped over though was, what's the governance system? I mean, you're collecting a lot of data on people, and you're getting a lot of new power and control over it, and I mean, it might take laws a decade to catch up, so how are you addressing the government system that you're adding to the cities?
So they're pulling in, the cities and the federal government work independently. Now the data itself, we typically use it for commercial applications. So we've got companies where they can collect, say for a mall, where everybody goes, how they walk through the mall, what stores they like, how much time they spend in. And that data gets sent for monetization, right? So there's tons of companies that want to know how people travel. So commercially it works that way. When you take it to a city or municipality, you're collecting it more for the municipality itself. They're trying to determine, where do we need to build a new road? Where are we having issues over here? Where is crime happening? So it's more internal, and then they can just basically siphon that down and send it to the federal, which wants it.
Well,
As far as
how is
the,
that governed though?
the data collection right now is out there. There's really no government on it. You've got Amazon, your phone is tracking everything you do. At this point in our lifetime, everybody's accepted that you are being tracked and followed and listened to. If you talk, and your phone, I'm sure everybody here has had this, where you have not searched for a product, but you and your buddy talked about it, and the next thing you know, your phone pulls it up. Guys, you got a hot mic on yourself. Don't worry about anything else.
It comes up, that pops up on Facebook, Instagram, anything that you do. But on one point, you want to know, one of the smartest smart cities in the US is New York City. They run on an open platform data system. All of their data is free to everybody. There's just no such thing as privacy anymore. And it's a fact.
Well, no, I'm asking, like, so the city can then change the algorithm for how stoplights work.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
who controls that?
The city, they have to abide by federal regulations of certain things. Like now they do their own speed limits, right? So they can choose their own traffic signaling. The cities and the state really have most autonomy when it comes to managing itself and its infrastructure. But Texas is the only one that's really got its own grid in the entire country.
Kind of, well, I'm sorry, it's a pivot, so if you want to keep going on that, that's fine. But you're talking about like slow-moving governance and cities and states and things like that. Like there are so many associations that would eat this up in private industry. So like what kind of businesses and engagement and things like that have you had to kind of enlist as allies maybe within a city and, you know?
So, yeah, I mean, the city itself, the issue is that a smart city technology is really, if you Google it, you're going to see pilots. A lot of these cities are just doing these, hey, look at what we've done. And it may be like the Atlanta North Corridor or the South, what do they got, the North Avenue train, the autonomous trains going back there? Has anybody seen that area? Or nobody knows what it is, really. Yeah, and then you've got Colorado that has some of the cleanest air. They're putting up air quality sensors. San Diego put up gunshot detection in the streetlights, but there really are no gunshots. Chicago needed that. So people are doing things that are just shiny. They're not doing things that really benefit the city. So once I think everybody's kind of getting through the whole, all these new fun things that we want to test and show have actually worked, but they really don't give us a benefit, now it's time to move toward the benefit. So Kansas City being one of the most smart cities out there, the cities are starting to look at it a little bit better. Atlanta right now is just in a precarious spot. We've got the issue with the mayor and vendor contracts, and everything's kind of just stopped. So it's really up to the outlying cities to start doing these migrations and then pull it into the bigger city. But anybody that starts is going to really become the leader of what they're doing. We're working with a few different counties and a few different cities to put some smaller things up that's going to grow to large ones. And those will all be very beneficial, but it's just a matter of convincing a city to go from just showing it's a shiny new object to actually jumping in and doing all this. And everybody's, well, we'll dip our toe, we'll do a little bit of security camera over here, we'll do a couple streetlights over here, but they've got to jump on the platform. So it's kind of a time thing. And the companies that we're working with, they're engaging with it. We've got plenty that we've got this type of technology with that are, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, but they want it for themselves. They really don't care if the city's got it. If they're that big, they kind of hold the city and can control rates and everything else because they've got the employment, right?
But don't you think that's a benefit, right? Like they can leverage that power in their scenario within the city to, extend it.
I think if we get, so the Facebook data center and Amazon HQ2, if those come here, you're going to see more smart city initiatives pop up left and right. And those two will probably make it. GE is fighting to create their own. They're out there trying to push it. They've got their smart streetlights. They were the first ones with gunshot detection, married with a Cisco AT&T service. So there are these little things that are going out there, and a lot of it's starting with the streetlights. But to get into the rest of it, it's street lighting and it's security. I haven't seen a lot of growth in other areas for smart technology, but I've seen a lot of interest. So, we're playing the long game with a lot of them at the moment, to be honest with you. Just something.
And what you say, a city needs to take out a multi-year bond to get the vision, like the city of Nashville, 2.5 square miles, plus or minus. If we wanted to attack this from all.
It's a really good question. We've got a great option for you. So we've been able to do everything on a as-a-service model. So I don't know if you've been seeing this, but it's the new trend. So you have software as a service, where basically you're just paying a monthly fee and everything is maintained for you in the back end. You always have the most up-to-date software. And so instead of spending $10 million, which you usually sign a 10-year contract, and you just start spending that money month one and it goes through. So we take it all to our bank. It's a maintenance contract, not a line of debt. It's not a loan, but we come out and the bank will finance us to do everything that we need to do. And then we maintain it. So all labor, all parts, everything is warranted for a 10-year period of time. And the city should initially receive cost benefit, depending on what's being installed. So if we go do some huge upgrade where we add 500,000 square feet of LED signage, we're adding power to it. But if we're going in and we're converting your lighting to LED lighting, and we're doing some other things that are going to actually reduce costs, 90% of the time we're going to go into the bank and our cost savings are going to go well beyond what the payment is. So the monthly maintenance contract may be, let's just say $20,000, you may be saving $50,000 to do that. So that maintenance contract is really how we're getting to move along with a lot of it versus having to go out and get a bond or shell that. It's just a matter of somebody looking to commit to that and seeing the savings. And there's no risk because there's no payments made until we've completed everything we've done and we've signed off on.
Just a real quick question. As someone who's been trying to work on just even creating a smart neighborhood, neighborhood, how close do you think we are to like a smart city with something as simple as, or maybe not simple, but solar panel roads? Like how close are we to like that?
That literally 2 days ago I think got completely debunked. Solar roads will never work, unfortunately, at least not right now. All of the guys that have tried to do that, there's just the cost is prohibitive. It generates so much less power than what's out there. The roads get dirt on them and ice and everything else. Then you have to heat it. The power to heat it's not going to be out there. I don't know if you ever saw the video of the people a few years ago. They were solar freaking roadways, and I love it. We called them. They tried to get on board.
So it costs $32,000 per watt produced.
So what is coming out in October is a company that has been working primarily with the government, and now it's going to be coming public, and it's wind. And these wind cubes are only 12 inches. They're a foot in diameter. At 45 miles an hour, these things can generate 1,000 watts of power. Okay, they cut in at 1.5 miles an hour, where a typical wind turbine, it takes 8 to 10 miles an hour. So to give an example, traditional wind turbines that you're seeing out there on an acre and a half can create about 2.9 megawatts. This new technology can create about 29 megawatts. So honestly, what I think you will see is you're going to see this wind technology that's coming out in the public here, so it's going to take off. And you're going to see that married with the solar. So on a non-windy, sunny day, you've got solar panels that are doing it. And then obviously when you don't have sun, you got wind. And these things produce a lot of power, and they're very, very small. So I think that's going to be. No, you haven't seen these yet. There's a cube, and it's a tiny little fan inside of it, and it spins really fast. They can go up to 140 miles an hour, It doesn't create any more power beyond 45, but it can withstand category 2 hurricane winds before you got to pull it down. So I think you'll see those combos, and we're working with the city on a couple projects that are actually happening with that'll go out there. So I think you'll see that before you're going to see the solar roads, just because it's not there with what solar produces at the moment.
It's not every house got solar panels.
Huh?
How many houses got solar panels?
Not enough here. We just allowed it. I mean, Georgia needs to get there. We should. We've got a lot of tree covers. They just allowed it a few years ago where you could do a power purchase agreement, which is what the rest of the country is doing. But most of those companies failed and have gone out of business. But we
Because the
do.
prices is huge.
It makes a
Germany,
payback.
they have more solar power than all United States.
The way to do that is there's companies, and we work with them, where they will set everything up. So you're saying you're paying 10 cents a kilowatt right now, which means your bill is $500. And now we're going to put these solar panels on, and whatever they produce, you're going to pay 7 cents a kilowatt. So you don't pay anything out of pocket, and you pay less of your power bill. But you pay these guys for 20 years until you own everything. It will last 100. But that's the way you can get benefit, and that just helps to get, you're going green, you're saving a little bit of money, but you're also going to be sure that you have power if your sun's out as well. I know I'm getting pretty close here.
So let's get a round of applause for both Sabra and Taylor for some great presentations. And before we go, I mentioned at the top we had some sponsored giveaways. Did everyone have a chance to put a business card in the bowl?
Yeah.
So we've got, courtesy of ATL guy Mike Simpson,
Mix them up.
giveaway. So Sabra, the first card we have is for Skinny's Restaurant on the Avenue Street, $10 gift certificate, and that goes to Calvin Harris. So, by the way, did you guys enjoy Archer's Brewing tonight? It's a great brewing. So we want to thank them again. And this one is a $10 gift certificate to Archer's Brewing, and it goes to, and she's still here, Laura Murphy. I think she already left. We'll draw again. Harvey Davis, $10 for Archer's Brewing. Congratulations, Harvey. And next one is a $20 gift certificate to JR Crickets on Main Street in College Park. And that is Aflac. And it is, gee, my eyesight's talking. Reuben Bernie. There you go. Congratulations. That font is very small. Another $20 gift certificate to JR Crickets. And this is Representative Kim Schofield. Representative Schofield, congratulations. You want to put your name back in?
Did anybody else forget to put their card in the bowl? I need 4 cards.
Well, we'll do this even easier. Can someone name the Smart City Technology, and we'll give out that one that way. There you go, JR Crickets. There you go. Congratulations.
What's the name of Sabra's project? What?
Close enough. It's 2 tickets to value $15 to Uptown Comedy Corner in Hapeville. Well, I know they're closing, so I'm trying to move this along. So, and we've got the last one. We've got 2 tickets to the Academy Theater in Hapeville. Anyone have something to learn about Spark City tonight through one of the presentations?
Convince the state legislature.
Wait, Representative, you gave yours back. So, anybody?
Ashley, say something. What's the question? Answer.
Ma'am, I'll give this to you because you have your solar comment. It's 2 tickets to the Academy Theater in Hapeville. They're yours. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I hope this was an educational evening. Please come back again to Archer's Brewing. You're welcome.